Hi, my name is Robert Robson, and I'm going to be your guide through this course on graphical user interface design and programming. I've been around this area for many years now, and I've seen it from its inception to where we are today. One of the things you have to realize is the importance of user interfaces. For most people, the user interface is the program. Therefore, how well you do that user interface determines the ultimate success of your program. You can have a highly functional program underneath, yet if the interface is not clear and easy to use, your program can still be a failure in the marketplace. So we're going to be looking at how to build user interfaces properly so that they make it easier to use and give us higher quality products in the end. The other part of this course is we're going to be looking at how user interfaces are actually programmed. And I've picked Qt, which is one of a great many of cross-platform programming tools or frameworks that allow us to build a graphical user interface that works on multiple different platforms. This is a fairly important concept because if you build an interface for just one platform, then you only run on that one platform. And then if you have to rebuild it for multiple platforms, it becomes prohibitively expensive. So what we try and do is build a cross-platform solution where we build the graphical user interface once and have the ability to deploy it on multiple platforms. We're going to be looking at how Qt is programmed for the desktop. This is portable between desktops like Macintosh or Windows or Unix, but it doesn't cover how they handle mobile platforms like phones, iPads, and similar sorts of devices. That's done in a slightly different way and is beyond the scope of this course. So we're going to be looking at what I call the old school way of programming a graphical user interface. And the reason I like to do it this way is because you actually see how they're built from the ground up and get an appreciation of all the different parts and how they work together. We're going to be spending the rest of the course going through the entire life cycle of how you build a graphical user interface. We're going to start out and we're going to look at the cognitive aspects, which are the psychological aspects of people and how they perceive things in user interfaces, and how we should craft our user interfaces to take best advantage of these psychological principles. Then we're going to be looking at trying to characterize the user, and we're going to come up with something called a persona, which writes down the important characteristics of an idealized user of your product. And we're going to learn how to write those. From there, we're going to be looking at the problem and asking ourselves, what does every one of these personas want out of our user interface? And we're going to use use cases to capture these requirements. After we capture the requirements, we're then going to go and try and start designing a solution that meets all the requirements. Of course, there is no single solution. There are many possible solutions to any problem. And we're going to be using Adobe XD to prototype one of these solutions. And we're going to essentially draw out the user interface using Adobe XD. There are many prototyping tools. I picked Adobe XD because it's fairly popular and seems to be gaining in popularity. After that, we're actually going to try and implement the interface. So we are going to spend 2 to 3 weeks actually implementing it, and we're going to get the whole thing working in Qt. After we get it implemented, then we're going to use what we call heuristics and walkthroughs to try and judge the quality of the user interface we've built and find out what's good about it and what's bad about it, and hopefully learn what we could do better next time. So that's pretty much the whole course in a quick overview. But user interfaces are extremely important these days. And I find that a lot of people don't really even recognize what's the difference between a good interface and a bad interface. So we're going to be looking at how to tell the difference and how to build good interfaces. And we're going to get a feel for what this user interface stuff is all about and what goes into crafting a quality user interface. So I think you'll find the course interesting. It's got a programming aspect along with psychology and a lot of design. We're not going to be focusing on the artistic design since most of the people in the programming stream are not naturally artists. If you are, well, congratulations. But you certainly don't have to be. We're going to be focusing on the usability aspects of it. We're trying to make interfaces which are highly usable, highly functional, and hopefully not too bad looking. But ultimately we rely on artists to come in and add pretty colors and add things to the design to try and make it more beautiful. We are primarily concerned with the functionality. So that's about it for my little introduction. I hope you enjoy the course, and I'll see you in our first lecture.